Welcome back, Hot Nerd Network family. Today we are discussing Power Book 3, Season 3, RaisingKanan, Episode 2. I'm your host, Hot Nerd D, and with me we have the ever amazing Hot Nerd Chimana joining us again. So say hi, Chimana.
Buddy.
Hey. So glad you're joining us again. But before we dive in, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. But yes, let's get to it, starting off with the episode's recap. So this episode starts out with Rock and Unique still together, not surprised there. Tony's crew, though, comes and takes them in the middle of the night and gives Rock a proposition to either kill Sal or he will kill her. So, not many options there. Lou is still struggling with the aftermath of the shooting. He's drinking heavily still and still blames Rock for what happened. Detective Howard speaks at Detective Burke's funeral after he was the one who killed her last episode. So that is a bit wild. But now that she is dead, there is an ongoing investigation, putting a lot of eyes on Howard. Well, they're not investigating her because her death was determined a suicide, but they're still going to have a lot more eyes and things on Howard. So he's definitely feeling the pressure there. Kanan and Famous are looking for new opportunities to make money. We see he proposes a deal with Paul, who we see as a new character in the show, who owns bikes, to utilize his bikes and his couriers to sell his product around New York. Juke is considering leaving Queens by joining the military. However, Nicole's dad does come back in this episode and gives her an opportunity for a girl group that she does get Lou's help with to try to prepare for. Unique approaches Tony later on in the episode to partner with him to do business and expand his range. Rock meets with her supplier and lets him know that she is out of the game. Juliana, however, who used to work for Rock, underestimated her and now may be a target for Rock later on. So we definitely will be discussing that scene. We see throughout the episode that Ronnie is beginning to unravel and show us more of his character, Unique's brother. So we'll see, as the season goes on, how much unraveling he really will be doing. And at the end, we do see Detective Burke's girlfriend is not going to stop to try to get the truth out about what happened, to what happened about Detective Burke. And it does come out that Marvin was able to complete his mission to kill Sal for Rock, but now we will definitely see what the aftermath is with that. So we had a lot going on for this episode, so I will pause there and ask what stood out to you or what was some of your favorite scenes.
Okay, two things initially. Can we give it up for Marvin, like you said, for completing the assignment? I'm very proud of him. Um, I don't condone violence. However, Marvin executed his plan. He stole the mailman a vehicle and
Yeah.
he really did play the part. I mean, I think maybe because it was played back in, I think, what, the 80s, because I'm trying to figure out how did this happen, like how in broad daylight was he able to pull this off. I think
Yeah.
baptism or christening, it's like, wow. So that scene was exciting. I didn't think it was going to happen exactly like that, like right,
Mm-hmm.
out in the public, but he pulled it off. And like you said, there will be some serious aftermath from this. And I also love the scene where we just see the spark back in Lou's eye. I mean, when Juke came and asked him for help, you just seen him like snap. He was going really down like a bad path, and it seemed like nothing was pulling him out. Marvin tried to get his head back in the game, but Lou was just not feeling it. And you could truly see that his passion is music, producing, and how he jumped right into it for Juke. I just love that.
Yeah, that was a good scene. It was like, I don't know, the way seeing the hope kind of come back for both of them. Because we'll definitely kind of get into some of those themes and tropes later on. But another scene that I like too was how Unique kind of handled first being taken in the middle of the night, but then also being able to flip that as an opportunity for himself,
Right.
to kind of try to slip in and try to be able to expand. And then I also like their banter between each other. Him and Tony were funny, like who
Yeah.
is unusual or okay, hey, what's going on, Mr. Linguini? Like but they all both kind of gave each other that respect, like at towards the end, like we are both, great conversationalists, like we're both good, at talking our way either into things or even out of things. And so we definitely see how this is playing into Unique's favor. So I'm excited for him because, Ronnie is definitely putting some pressure on his back. Like, why isn't this happening this way? Or why aren't things this way? And it's like, things have changed a little bit. So you got to you got to cut me some slack or at least see the strategy of where I'm trying to go or what I'm trying to do.
Right.
So that was also one of my favorite parts too. And then, like you said, with Marvin completing the mission, because he definitely reached out to Lou to try to get help there. So I was like, oh no, if Lou's not helping him, is he really going to be able to like execute that? And, to the precision, to the level that he was able to do it too. So, and like you said, in broad daylight, like I'm really surprised he even got away for
Oh,
real, for real.
yeah. And people saw his face, like, so yeah.
So that was basically telling us in a way like that's not going to be, over anytime soon, especially like you said, because they saw his face. So he may have completed the mission, but we'll see how long that actually lasts. Or, the high of like the success of that, how long that actually lasts.
Yeah.
For sure. And then, because we definitely just touched on it though, but some of like a big theme that I did see throughout this episode and even throughout last episode was that the is a theme of like isolation or loneliness and kind of what comes out of that. So what comes to mind specifically is like what you mentioned with Lou and how he's definitely taken like a rough turn after the shooting, like even though he's been through similar kinds of situations, like this one is definitely hitting home for him. One, because he lost his girlfriend, and then two, it's almost like this symbolized like almost his dreams being killed as well in the process. And so that definitely put him in a period or in a way like isolation. Like he's definitely been keeping to himself. Like he definitely doesn't want nothing to do with rock, nothing to do with the business, nothing to do with anything that his family is involved in. So that definitely has made him kind of retreat to himself. And then I also see a similar sort of pattern with Kanan to a degree. I mean, I know he does have famous, but he still is isolating himself from his family and also with Juke too.
Yeah.
Even her trying to find different ways and avenues to even try to get out of Queens and to get away from her family. So what would you say in terms of like isolation or loneliness that you can see in the context of this episode?
Um, what comes to mind is Ronnie. He was isolated for a while in prison, and then he came out, and he still kept a lot of those mannerisms about himself. I mean, he's at a club; it's a pretty social place, a nightclub, and he was just so serious, just to himself. He didn't want to interact with anyone. He was just so focused on, I think, the security guard or the bouncer, and just that's what when you said that word isolation, I thought of Ronnie. I'm like, he's still keeping his old mannerisms. I mean, he just got out, so it's hard to kind of break free. But even Unique was like, hey man, aren't you trying to can't you have some fun? For a second, most people when they come out, they want to have fun. And another that comes to mind is Kanan as well. He's definitely trying to break free from his mom. Like she got him a whole new car, and that didn't phase him at all. He literally just drove it back to where he was like staying at the moment. So he's definitely breaking away. So I think it's like isolation and breaking away from what people are used to.
That brings a good point because when you say it in that context, like that definitely makes me think of Lou for sure because, you know, he's just used to operating to a certain level or operating in this way, but like kind of what we discussed even from last episode, like where okay, like Rock says she's done, okay, now we can actually dismantle everything, but when he said he was done, like he wasn't able to really make that choice for himself. So in a way, like in this isolating period, like it definitely has grown like a lot of resentment and things towards Rock. And so that definitely also kind of feeds into that idea of like, okay, well, now my only option is to get away, or now my only option is to retreat because it's like I don't like when I want to, try to push forward or try to progress or try to do something outside of what in a way sometimes it's either expected of me or what is normal for the scope of this business or the scope of the environment that we're in, and how that just makes them kind of feel alone, like I don't have anybody that is really supporting the things that I want to do, the things that I'm asked to do or forced to do. I don't get anything out of that, like there's no joy in um killing Kanan's friend from last season. There's nothing that I'm actually really getting from a lot of the things that I have to do. And so it's like just kind of puts him in a place where he's just stagnant or um just nothing else, can kind of come out of this. And so he's just, you know, staying there, just drinking heavily, like now looking for other vices as well to try to kind of either numb what he's going through or, try to escape what his actual reality is. And so, but it definitely does breed, trying to retreat or trying to leave. And so, this definitely will get into like when we kind of describe the characters a little bit more, but how him and Juke working on the music together is like his sign of hope, like oh my gosh, like maybe I don't have to I don't know, just completely give up on everything, and kind of just go day to day and not really try to progress in his own development. And so I that's what I felt like from this episode, like how isolation, like you said, can breed, wanting to retreat or wanting to like remove oneself. And then, when you're kind of introduced back into like a community or some sort of support system, which I hope, he can kind of see Juke as like during this time, like while they're kind of joining together for music as like a sign of hope, that almost in a way like all is not lost.
Right. And they're each other's hope right now because I was so disheartened when Juke was like, I'm done with that. Like, that is her passion, singing it, that's her passion. And when they both were ready to literally just go their separate ways, do their own thing, she was ready to physically leave. And
Mhm.
so to see that spark in both of their eyes, it just goes back to sometimes you just need to get around the right people, people that invoke joy for you, that help light your passion. Like sometimes that's absolutely necessary, especially dealing with the circumstances that you can't control. Being around people that can help you grow can bring some control back, where they can kind of, in their little bubble, ignite each other with their passion. So that's really an encouraging scene.
Yeah, and that also even makes me think, like you saying that about Rock and Unique, like how they're both also kind of isolated to a degree themselves, like how Unique, lost a lot of the people that he used to work with, from the aftermath of the shooting, and is now on his own trying to like regain some sort of control and regain some sort of stability. Um and how they're like coming together now, kind of as being the survivors of that big shooting, like, and how they're finding like support in one another, or like they're finding community in one
Mhm.
another, and how in a way them coming together, it was also that spark of hope too, because remembering from last season, that last episode, you know, when Rock was in that house and he was about to shoot her, and then Unique kind of comes in and saves the day.
Mhm.
How that, you know, like when you're in those moments of like loneliness, or when you're by yourself, or when you are isolated or just retreat, or removed from everyone else, it's, you know, it's hard to see the hope, or, you know, it's hard to see like what else can kind of come out of this. And so when you do finally kind of come back to someone, or have someone to kind of lean on or to support, like you said, to kind of ignite your passions, you know, it makes things feel less heavy.
Right.
um it makes things feel like actually manageable. And so, like you said, like seeing the spark kind of come back in Lou's eyes, kind of seeing the spark come back in Juke's eyes, like, you know, makes, in a way, all of their what else they're going through seem a little bit more like,
Man.
okay, I can actually, yeah, manageable, like I can do this. Because Juke once again is going through still grief from her mom, grief from Nicole as well.
Mhm.
um and, you know, just countless other people that have passed too, that she's also known, because she also knew Scrappy, you know, like she also
Yeah.
knew D Wiz, Kanan's friend. So just having to deal, and then also too, prior, you know, to these last couple episodes, having an estranged relationship with her own father, as well. So once again, Juke, she always gets the short end of the stick, but, you know, that's why we're rooting for her to, you know, try to get something out of this. So that was a nice like silver lining through it all,
Right.
for sure. So, because then that definitely leads us into a nice segue on diving a little bit deeper into the characters in the context of hopelessness, because that's definitely a huge characteristic, that is, you know, plagued throughout, um many of the characters, not only in this episode, but in the last episode, and even from the previous seasons. So how would you describe, you know, just, I guess, the importance of hope within the characters, and like how that is either changing the trajectory of where they're going, um or even the lack of hopelessness, like how that's also maybe even a factor too.
Yeah, so I'm looking at Rock, right? And she keeps saying she's out the game, which we're gonna say is sus right now. But when Sal gave, or not Sal, but when she was given the
Tony.
proposition to do this one last thing to take out Sal, maybe she's looking at this like, okay, well, if I can complete this mission, then I'm out. Like she feels like in a way she might get what she wanted, you know? And so just the drive that it takes when you're offered something that gives you hope. I thought that was interesting with Rock, you know, even though she didn't actually put her hand on the trigger, she didn't actually shoot Sal. She definitely was the chess pieces behind it, the planning behind it. She told Marvin what he had to do, things like that. And so I'm wondering with that with her, is this her last, like, you know, this is hope for her to kind of get out the game doing this last mission. um and I know we talked about it, but with Lou and Juke, like the hope that they can come together and make something beautiful out of such tragedy, such chaos, I think can kind of give them both hope to keep going on, because they are sick of their situation, their circumstance. They're sick. And you can see that, you can feel that, you know. You don't have to like, while you can't control everything that's going on around you, they're taking what they can control and they're making the best out of it. So I applaud them. Um Kanan, him, he's trying to find his own way. I'm okay. I'm proud of him. You know, like he sometimes can be annoying because it's like you're getting things handed to you. You know, you get this great car, you get this opportunities you have with school, whatever, but you're still trying to find your own way. So it's like, okay, while I'm annoyed with you a little bit, I have some respect for you. You know, you're trying to, make your own path. And this is successful. This might be the glimpse of, the Kanan we see, in the later Power universe, him thinking on his own, him creating opportunities. And I mean, I think it's cool using the resources that you have, like the bike situation, and doing what you have to do. So, I'm on the fence about Ronnie. I still can't read him. I'm trying really hard, but I can't read him, so I don't know if he has hope or not. Like, I don't know. Like, I don't know. But I feel like he's just so robotic that he's used to a certain way and he's coming back with that same mindset. So I don't know if that's hope or not. I just think he's determined. So he's gonna keep doing what he has to do. So that's
Yeah.
kind of my take on the whole hopelessness versus, like, some people are trying to find hope. Some people are, I guess, just setting in their circumstances. So I'm glad people are building on community, using each other to kind of get out of that hopelessness.
No, I definitely agree with a lot of what you just shared. And then, yeah, especially for Kanan, who more so it's like it makes sense how he kind of got roped into everything. Like, because again, this is a sense of normalcy for him because this is what he sees. It's just at the same time there were so many people that tried to like deter him from getting into it, including his mom, including even the boyfriend that she had that was helping her with
The
the
music
home
teacher.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
like even Scrappy, I think, like to a degree, like, yo, just sit here, like let us do this. Like you actually don't have to do this if this is
Right.
not down. It's of course it's probably not anybody's like, ideal path. Unless you really are
Smart.
excited about, the things right, excited about the things that you're doing, or either of just kind of allowed it to be because once again it's just normal to you. But yeah, there were definitely moments where it's like, Kaden, you put yourself into this situation, and so we are applauding you for getting out of it, but at the same time this could have definitely been avoided. So I don't know if you get any points for this, but we're
Right,
gonna get
leveled out.
right. You're at baseline. You finally made it back to baseline. But you definitely bring up a good point too on how hope creates opportunity, or
Hmm.
like how having an opportunity or some sort of circumstance that maybe can change your situation like can give you hope. And so it reminds me of Nicole's dad,
Hmm.
how him coming in, once again, it's like can even invigorate some hope within him as well, because like, okay, he lost his daughter who loved to sing, but maybe if I can pass along this opportunity to someone else who I know, has that same joy, like, I can kind of see even my daughter kind of living on or living through
Yeah.
that, or me being able to usher in that opportunity for that to kind of continue on. I think that that was like in a way like homage, one, to his daughter, but then also to trying to create an opportunity for Jude, um, which I then which I think is what sparked her hope. So it's like once again having the resources and then having those resources create an opportunity, is definitely the trajectory of how hope even is created, or how hope, kind of can help you then progress to your next step. But
Yeah.
like
And
you said,
how
like of Ronnie, not necessarily. having an opportunity or knowing where his place is or knowing what his resources are, is can create a bit of confusion or can create some sort of like hopelessness or in a way just not understanding, what can actually come out of this, which again can create that sense of hopelessness.
Yeah, I think it's like what you touched on with Nicole's dad, how important it is to be around people that can harness your dreams too, that also believe in your dreams as well. That really does make a difference. And I'm really glad that it was probably hard enough going to see Juke, but I'm really proud that he did that. That was probably healing for him as well, just stepping out there, and you just never knew what the outcome could be, but we'll see. And now that I'm thinking about it with Ronnie, I there's some trauma because
Yeah.
Unique's girlfriend was like, "Hey, our son is scared. Like he's just sitting in front of the TV and it's not playing. And he's just like laser focused. Like something's not right." And I think that I'm curious how his character develops. It's I'm curious about him. I'm gonna leave it at that.
Yeah. So whether it's like hopelessness or not, like he may be very calculated and throughout
Mhm.
all of this and actually has a big plan that
Right.
we just aren't, very aware of right now. So yeah, we gotta put, a question mark on Ronnie right now. Like we
Right.
don't know what you about to do, but we know you about to do something. And
Right.
it's not gonna be small. Like he doesn't seem like he does things on a small scale. He definitely is very methodical in his ways. And I guess we're just not privy yet to how methodical or what his ways really are.
Right.
Which again, it could definitely be scary. But at the same time, just leaves us with the opportunity to think, where is he going to take this, or where is his mindset? Does he feel constricted, which can lead to a sense of hopelessness, or is he right now plotting and being using that as like has his own way as creating his hope for what he wants to kind of get out of this now that he's out. So, right. I don't know about him. But it just makes me think then too for Unique and how at the end of last season, how everything kind of just looked as though, where can we go from this? Oh, we lost a lot of people along the way. Like, how are we going to kind of reestablish or, regain some sort of control? And so I definitely think one, him, kind of getting back in the good graces of Rock, like, is definitely helping with that. I mean, he also is slipping in, some sort of situationship too. But I mean, again, because he's always been feeling Rock. So that
Yeah.
wasn't necessarily a surprise. But for him specifically, like how he is able to, I don't know, kind of create something out of nothing, and how, like he doesn't lose his hope, when he very much well can, and sometimes maybe should, but just doesn't, and how he can, you know, kind of can think of different ways and think of different strategies and think of different things to kind of get himself back to where he needs to go. And so for a lot of the characters, we can kind of see in a way how they're handling, um, the different things that they have to go through. Like for someone like Unique, like this doesn't necessarily make him hopeless. He just sees once again an opportunity. But for someone like Lou, like he sees this almost like at his ends wits, like what more, can I give, or what more can I do, or what more can happen, that can, you know, make this even worse than probably what it already is. And so it also, like looking at it in the context of hope or even hopelessness, like we could see the characters, just in a way grieving, or just in a way how they actually adapt and cope for real to a lot of the things that are going on with them.
You know, I love that, and I knew I loved Unique. um, to take a page out of his book, he really does seize the opportunity. Like you said, he makes something out of nothing. He really, I am trying to think back. I have not really seen him be like, "That's it, thrown in the towel." He's always ready for something, and makes me think maybe this is his passion. He's living in his passion. He's doing what he loves to do. Like, this is what he loves to do.
Yeah.
I to say that his passion's wrong. This is what he loves to do. Okay, so
what what gives him the things that he
right.
loves, like the power, the respect, the cars, the glitz, the glamour, girls, like a lot of things that he does enjoy, that this gives him in a way the
This
opportunity
comes
to do.
natural to him. It comes
Yes,
natural.
it does.
Like, no one gets taken out of their home, kidnapped, and then the next day having a meeting about a proposition meeting. Like,
Right.
he is. And so it's now, while we all have our own passions, but we can honestly say, like, don't give up. Keep going for it. Keep going for what ignites you. Look for, there's always a way. So I love that about him. Good
Hmm.
job,
And then
Unique.
we can definitely see it within Kanan too, like how we saw in this episode, like, okay, like, because he was kind of going down a streak of hopelessness, and it kind of leaving him in a crutch where he was again isolating himself. He was again, removing himself and trying to retreat. But it was like when he saw Paul, it was like a aha moment, or like, okay, like now I'll just pivot. Now this is my way of kind of creating my own hope. One, being able to get, away from my mom, both of my parents, because he's like, I actually, despise kind of both of you right now. So, but once again, similar to Unique, like being able to just kind of take what they see, or like take what they do have access to, or take what is available, being able to flip that into something much bigger, which is interesting because this episode was called Flip Mode. So we're definitely seeing everyone playing their cards to where they're taking what was given, like you said, you need to be taken in the middle of the night. So okay, well, how can if you don't kill
Right.
me, how can I make
Right.
this work for me? So, because I definitely think he definitely gained their respect there, which helped him with that conversation later on,
Right.
with, because he definitely didn't see any fear,
Right.
which can also combat a sense of hope, or being able to actually have the confidence to kind of go for it as well.
And do you know how many times Rock turned him down? He did not give up. Now it's just inspirational.
Yeah, we're learning from you, Unique.
You, Unique.
Right. Oh my gosh. Well, with all of what we talked about, what do you think is going to happen for either next episode or just later on in this season?
Hmm. So something that I had predicted before, um, kind of changed this episode. Like, so dealing with, like, Detective Burke's death, I thought it would be the father more so avenging her death, trying to figure out what happened, but it's actually, her friend, her ex-partner. Like, she's the one who's going full throttle on, like, she's not gonna let this go. Like, this is
Yeah.
still gonna be a problem, trying to figure out what happened to Detective Burke. And who knows what she told her friend. She may have told her the whole story.
Yeah.
So that means that now someone else knows the whole story, because we said last episode that Detective Burke figured it all out. Okay,
Yeah.
like, she knows it all. So handle that. So she may not. Who knows what she wrote down? Who knows? We don't know. So I think that's still going to be a problem. I am predicting that this episode coming up, we may see some more of Ronnie and what his plan is and what his ideas are. I think he's coming for it all. He wants it
Yeah.
all back. And however he gets it, that's how he's gonna go for it. You know, who knows? I think his brother, he may be at odds with his brother.
No, it's like, no, please don't take out Unique.
They're just on different paths. You know, they want the same thing, but they go about it differently. And
Hmm.
um, I think they're gonna butt heads.
Hmm.
um, I'm excited to see what Lou and Juke create. I
Yeah.
just that hope we all need to see in this season. You know, like we've seen a lot of like the dark side, but like I'm ready to see some passion ignite. I'm ready to see what their talents show. So I'm excited for that. And I'm just ready for Rock to just go back to who she is and just stop playing with people. Like we know you're not out. Like even Unique was like, yeah, I mean, she said it, but it's like
He's like, but we're not talking about her. We're talking about me right now.
she gets back to whatever she is, just what we are. I think he'll be ready to take her back with open arms. So
Yes. Okay. I agree. I definitely think that Kanan and Famous too, like I wonder what how this whole like bike business and stuff like they got. I want to see it. I want to see it flourish. You know what? You sick of your mom, like you sick of your family. You trying to make your own way, and I respect that. It's not like he's just like just saying all is lost and I'm just gonna sit here. Like, no, he is trying to, figure it out on his own. And, it's definitely the birthing of what we know Kanan to really be, later on in the other power season or in the other power show. So I'm excited for them. It's like, you know what, you found a way, like, and it's working for you. So I also wonder, if that may step on some toes or what also could come of that as well. But as for now, it's going smoothly, so we're gonna just keep rooting for it to go smoothly. And then, like you said, I don't Rock is far from done. I
right.
mean, well, at the same time, like her only like kryptonite is Kanan, supposedly. And so is he going to be a strong enough catalyst for her to kind of switch completely? Because it's like, what is she going to do? That's what she didn't give us
Mhm.
information about, because it's like, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this because I'm gonna go into the car business, just
Right.
something. But she didn't actually give us a real explanation or even like a plan. So it
Right.
just, like you said, just begs us to think like, okay, well, you gotta right, you gotta go back to what you was doing and cut it out with all the you gonna stop, because we all know that that's not the case. But we are, even the suppliers, like, we will be back, with open arms when you ready, because you on games and you the only one that doesn't know that right
Right.
now. And then once again, I can't have Ronnie taken out Unique. Like, I can't have that. Like, not when, we just got back to like actually really liking Unique, and now he's like a fan favorite. It's like, you
Yeah.
can't do that now. Like, you just gotta fall in line, Ronnie, please. Like, what,
Yeah.
why not? Just please, just listen a little bit, because it reminds me of like, even um previously when were doing the recaps for Force, like, and how the main character, or one of the main characters in that show, Walter Flynn, um was just used to operating in a way like old fashioned or more traditional, and there's just one way to do things, and he didn't appreciate when someone was trying to offer him something different, or just different ways to adapt to when times are changing. So I definitely see a similar pattern with Ronnie, but it's like, please, just not Unique. It's like, no, you can't take out the favorites. Like, you can't do that. You got to do something else, but you can't do that. Uh, but yes, and also too, I'm rooting for Lulu and Juke. I want them to get their music on and for them to, live their best lives
Yes.
outside of Rock and her, ruining their plans there. So, yes, we shall see though how this all pans out. But that is a wrap for this week's recap. Thank you again for joining us, Chimana. Always a pleasure having you. If you want to pull up next week, please do. But yes, don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe to join the conversation and stay updated with all things Hot Nerd Network. And remember to stay tuned for next week's recap of Power Book 3, Raising Kanan. We can't wait to see where this story takes us. But until then, stay nerdy, folks.
Bye.